You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back with another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. Woo, this April came. Okay, we're midway into April, and it has been a joyride, I must say. Like, April really surprised me. Yes, lots of rain, lots of April showers splattering all over Philly and across the East Coast. But also, just lots of fun and excitement. Like, I just feel like I'm in the real fullness of spring and all the excitement and joy. So this past weekend was nothing short of a really great time. My mom came into town and a lot of my friends came to celebrate me. There was an alpha celebration of neos, which I am a neophyte, which is basically someone who just crossed a fraternity and black fraternity. I don't know what the other fraternities call it, but when one crosses a Divine Nine fraternity or sorority, they're called a neo. Now, don't you all run around calling me that. We're just going to keep it cute over here, but that's what they call individuals who do. So this was a neo celebration for Road Chapter. We had a big old party in Northeast. We was at the Emerald Room, and it was a celebration. It was great food. It was a poppin' bar. It was a lot of fun people that came out. My folks came out in numbers. We had like 3 tables. Everyone was like there. City Council member at large, Catherine Gilmer Richardson, who's a Zeta. State Representative Morgan Cephas, who is a Delta, and her sister Chelsea, who I just love to bits. She's also a Delta. And then Lauren, my good friend Lauren, she's a Delta. And it was a lot of and Kathy's husband David is the president of the Philly Sigmas. He's a Sigma. So it was a lot of like Greek love in the house. Oh, of course. And my lawyer and his wife is Judge Gibbs. She is an AKA, and her birthday was this weekend as well. But she made time to come out and celebrate. Lit Brothers was there. Of course, my younger brother was there. Of course, Mr. Johnson. And it was just a very just loving event and so much fun to just celebrate. And I'm getting all these wonderful gifts that just keeps coming in. Gifts, donations, gifts. And it's been fabulous. Just so much excitement. Who was there? Also, it was like a lot of people. Manny was there. My PABJ family was there. There was these cool balloons that was made for me. So I am 10 on the line, which, I'm the double digit. I'm the 10, which I live for. A perfect 10, a perfect even number. Don't we love it? And they gave me, Brittany, who was there, my good friend, and she's a Delta, gave me these 10 balloons at my table. And it was a lot because like across the room, everybody, really no one had numbers or balloons and all that. But of course, me being Ernest and the E stands for extra, they had to at least, they just showed out, when I got on and we performed some things for them. I have the video footage. I am not putting it up. I don't know. Maybe a year from now. I don't know. But I have it. And I'm going to show it to certain people who couldn't make it. But it was, we performed. We came out and we strolled and we did our thing. It was fun. It was fun. But no, I did as much of a photo dump as I wanted to. And, I've been talking my shit. I'm sorry. I relish in this part of the story. I do. One thing about me, I'm gonna have a lot to say when I make it. Oh, I live for this time of it all. And more to come. There's so many things bubbling on the horizon that is just going to take this from infinity to beyond. So I'm super excited. And I've read so many of your letters. Even if I don't take the time individually, all of your IG DMs and Twitter messages. Like I read everything, and I just, I appreciate all of you all for just the encouragement and support, and also you all sharing your stories about Greek life and things. Like just a lot of you all who reached out and just show real love. I just appreciate you, and it does mean a lot. It truly does. It truly does. So I just want to take the moment to say thank you for, you know, being here. Because I was always, when I was like, I wonder how people are going to, think, but not like as if I cared, but I do, I do. I love the fact that people allow people to evolve in different ways. It's so funny. Like there's some people who, were, having opinions, and I talked about that. And truth of the matter is, one of the things that I've thought about lately is that it's so easy to, ask questions about what one person's journey is. And the question becomes, is it really, um, hmm, is it really that you care, or is it that you're bitter? What I what I will say that has been the one thing that I've learned through this is that when you become a possibility model for other people, and let me define possibility model because I've used it and people are like, what does that mean? I've never heard that term really. Possibility model is when you think of like people say somebody's a model of excellence, somebody is a model for good, things like that. They think of this term model, right? A like a like a goal sheet model. Like when people create something, like I don't know the word goals, but like people are a hope model or something, or a face model. Like you're modeling something, like you're displaying something. So a possibility model is that a person might say, look, I don't think something's possible to do, and so somebody proves that it is. And so that becomes your North Star to guide you to say, okay, this is possible because this person's been able to do it. And I look up to them, or I look at how they did it as a way to tell me that I could, because sometimes seeing is believing. And in some cases, representation clearly matters. Um, and so let's say, for example, somebody was at home, a young girl in the 90s who had aspirations of being on TV. And they might have said, well, I'm not skinny and I'm light skinned. I'm dark. I'm not light skinned, and I'm a black, but I'm not from the East Coast. And they see this woman, this curvy, dark skinned black woman who, went to an HBCU, who is from a small little town in Mississippi, and she's on TV, on national TV, being her full, vivacious, energetic self. And she says, wow, her name is Oprah. It is possible. It could happen. It may not be easy, but it could happen that somebody can look like her, be like her, and be successful. And I think, I think sometimes people forget, listen, people out here standing for Beyonce and all these folks. I just think people really do just, the things they say about media, TV, they be playing with Oprah. They because I think Oprah has gotten so famous, right? She's so iconic that people forget like the barriers that Oprah has had to overcome to be Oprah. Because Oprah makes the shit look easy, and Oprah really has gotten to a point where she's so famous now that it almost as if people forget all of the conventional barriers that she's broken. Like just for everything, as a woman in media, as a black woman in media, as a dark skinned black woman in media, as a dark skinned black woman who initially her career was on the curvier, more plus sizeness of her career, as a black woman with no children, not never been married, right? I mean, she's had Stedman for a long time, but like as a black woman who did not have to play into a lot of tropes. Like Oprah never pretended to be mother. Oprah never played into the dutiful wife. Like Oprah literally is just so like, how did this woman do it? It's fascinating, right? And she did it on her own terms, and she did it in a way that was real to who she wanted to be and what she's about and what she cares about. And it's just, some of your faves, no shade, but some of your faves made some compromises in their personal life in order to navigate certain things. Not naming no names. I'm just saying, my girl Oprah, she kind of did it. She's the model for a lot of women in media across all racial, age, color. She's that girl. Oprah is that girl. I just love Oprah. Oprah is a possibility model for me. Just to see somebody just be as ambitious and do it in spite of all of the bullshit. Like Oprah, in spite of all the bullshit, has been able to do this and has done it for over 30 years and not have been convicted or indicted or anything. Like, it's fascinating because everything about her should have led to that. I mean, you talk about Wendy Williams, you talk about all these other people, statistics would say that Oprah could have been one of those individuals. And so she's a possibility model, right? She has shown people that you can do this. Janet Jackson is a possibility model. People look at what Janet has done for music, has inspired other people that we look to today. Like Tina Turner is a possibility model. Like, you can look at Tina and go, okay, Tina crossed various genres of music. Tina Turner had a domestic violence situation that could have stopped her career, but she was able to persevere. Tina Turner did it at a level at her age where people her age do not do well in pop music, do not do well in rock music, do not do well in any of that, black or white. And she was able to make a comeback in her 40s and do even a larger career. Like, she's a possibility model. There's a lot of artists today that have looked at what Tina has done, what Janet has done, and what even Aretha, arguably, right? Aretha is a possibility model. Like, these are women in music who have really been able to create an opportunity to let people know, yes, you can do rock. Yes, you can do country. Yes, you can do these things. And there are artists now that are taking it to the next level and doing it. Beyonce is a possibility model in her regards. Rihanna is a possibility model in so many different ways, right? Like, these are women who have found opportunities and have shown people that it can happen. So yeah, I think for me, I am a possibility model when it comes to certain things, for various things in this industry. I mean, I could talk about journalism, media, but for now, I'm going to say that what I've heard consistently in this city, in this area, that when people would have never thought that someone like me would be an Alpha or be in Divine Nine. Now, this is not to say, let's be clear, that there's never been any gay people. Clearly, there's been plenty of queer people that have become Greek, has become alphas and Qs and C. There's always been, right? But what is rare, and I think what has become a point of contention, inspiration, celebration, all these things, is that someone such as myself did this, right, without having to, completely conserve or moderate and modify my entire existence. Like, people are just baffled by that. Like, you mean he's there, he's with his husband. You mean he can just get his nails done? Yeah, you could do that. You can. But you go spaces where people, you go where you're celebrated. There's always safe spaces and meaningful places throughout, right? And we got to stop projecting these stereotypes about Black people in our spaces. I mean, yes, there's homophobia everywhere, but I do think, and I'll say this as a Black person, that if I was in any other community, it would be far more problematic. If I grew up gay in the South with white people, I don't know if I would be alive. In the religious world and the spaces that they were in, conversion therapies, Westboro Baptist Church, I mean, the stories are horrible. But society would like to project racialized stereotypes. Now, I'm not saying that the world is easy for a Black queer person that's grown up in the South or anything, but I would say that it is very different. It is very different, and we sometimes project stereotypes about people's experiences, and we fall into these traps because there's this the irony is that they'll do the whole, oh, there's hypermasculinity and there's all this and this. Where did that come from? Where did this expectation of Black men being hypermasculine come from? It came from white supremacy around gender politics and society that separated black families. And I'm talking about during the slavery times that then, pushed, a lot of innocent black men in the incarceration system, which then created tropes around masculinity in those places because many of them were in in many ways indoctrined to be quote unquote tough, right? And those tropes continue into defining what heterosexuality look like in certain genders. And let me be clear, toxic masculinity and all of those things are in all aspects of society for all racial groups in their own ways, right? But they perform differently culturally based on certain circumstances. And it's crazy because you will see certain men, especially men of color, you know, not understand that history, don't understand what's shaping why I am the way I am, why am I acting what I'm acting. And yet the thing that they hate the most or they try to push against is white supremacy. And yet they fall into the same confines that and shackles that put them there. It's time for some real self-evaluation. It's time to have more mature conversations. It's long overdue that we as a community, but even as a society, begin to really look really carefully and point the finger and not just be doing things just do things. You have to understand why you do the things you do and why and where that come from. It's bigger than just you waking up choosing. No, it's a lot of things there. And it's gonna take a time, but everybody in there, I'm not saying the labor belongs to women to do it because women have to educate, but it's time for other brothers to tell other brothers why they're doing what they're doing. And it's time for couples to have conversations. And sometimes women perpetuate it on other men. I've seen it. I see so much of that stuff. Like, I'll see some cishet women will be like, "Oh, I want a man as this, and this." Is like, no, no, leave him alone. Let Lakeith Stanfield be as fun and creative he wants to. Little Uzi Vert, not little Susie Hurt, wants to vogue and have fun. Let him. And the JT loves that about him, and they have a safe, loving relationship. Let them be. Like, there's got to be a sense of you cannot police the same thing that's hurting you. A toxic masculine man is not good for himself, not good for a woman, not good for a man, not good for his brothers, his friends. It's not good for society, right? And this whole attraction to that type of behavior is a fucking pornographic fetish that you got to get over. Everybody. Okay, queer people too. The trade that I want an aggressive trade. Okay, and then you find yourself being murdered. And I'm not blaming people for death because that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we cannot obsess and fetishize the things that are killing us as society. You can't. You just can't. The fetish of it all. You got to be at a point where you have to say no, right? But we just don't, and that's just across all spectrums. We live in a society that be like, oh, we don't like gun violence, but you see conservatives out here having all these white men brandishing, these assault rifles. You see certain black men that are out here posing with guns, handguns and stuff like that, and people think that shit is cute. We gotta look at what we saying is not matching what we're doing and what we're standing for, and it's just we gotta call that hypocrisy out. We gotta check people, even if it's people in our own circle, about how we're perpetuating this type, the things that are hurting us. And we're going to talk about Jared Carmichael because that is somebody who I got to circle back and get him together yet again. And y'all know what, if you don't know, we're going to talk about it. But anywho, but I'm a possibility model for a lot of young black men right now who are queer, who are thinking, I want to be a part of one of these fraternities. I thought I had to, be low key and be quiet or be whatever. There's so many men who are suffering in silence around their sexuality and gender identity because they fear, oh, I won't make it. And in some cases, that reality is real. I've been there. I was there where I was called, the F word, and it wasn't FUCK. It wasn't fuck. It was another nasty word. I've been there. I've been around people who, in one sense wanted to bang me, but didn't want to hang with me. I've been there. And the reality is that nobody can control your journey, your story. They can't tell you, oh, you can't do this. And then that is it. It might not be Look at me on a sunny day, giving a sermon. But it's real though. People try to set their chapter on you. Say, okay, this doesn't work now, so therefore it's over for you. No, it just didn't happen with you. I can go somewhere else and make it happen. And that's what a possibility mile looks like for so many people who may have thought, okay, undergrad it wasn't going to work. You have another alternative. There's another world. There's another opportunity. There's another place. If you're as passionate about it and you care about it as much as you do, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't matter about what people might think you need to do to get there. Once you arrive, it's showtime. And you gotta maintain and do the work. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is about. It's about service, it's about scholarship, it's about leadership. That's what it's about. It's about showing up, it's about doing the work for the community, it's about doing the work. And if you're not about doing the work, then what are you doing? You know? I like I said, this is my favorite part of this, to be at this point. Because you gotta look at people and ask the real questions. Are your dues paid? Are you active? Are you doing the service? Are you doing the work? Are you stepping up and being a leader? Because if you're not doing those things, all the other stuff is just for birds. That's so. But nonetheless, we had a great time. It was a lot of celebrating. We went to brunch at PJ Clark's, which was fabulous. PJ Clark's, I haven't been to in a while. So PJ Clark's is in Washington Square West, in the Curtis building. And they've been open since 2018. But it for a while was a part of the Washington Square West community where people in that area loved it and loves PJ Clark's. It's a new American steakhouse. They have one in New York. They've been around since the 1800s, but they came to Philadelphia in 2018, and they've been moderately successful. Like they still got the lights open, right? So they're successful. In spite of the pandemic and everything else. I remember going during during their grand opening during the beginning. And then when the pandemic happened, it was just kind of like I was thrown into a world of new restaurants. But I wanted to circle the block and try it again. And I had brunch, and they've been doing some new things. Their menu, they got new chefs, they got new people there. So it's like a revitalization almost. Like it's back, baby. And they're doing some things like they got a crazy happy hour. They're one of the few places in the city that do shuck and buck oysters, which basically you get an oyster for $1. And for people who love oysters, you can get 20 oysters for $20 for happy hour. Their happy hour is from 5 to 7, which is a good happy hour. Their brunch is really good. It's something for everybody at their damn brunch, I'll tell you that much. It was a good ass time. We had a good time. We followed that up and went to my good friend Kelly Mirabot's birthday party, which was fabulous. We was out there in the suburbs. She had a lovely backyard indoor party, some great barbecue from the suburbs, some great brisket. It was a good old time. It was a lovely birthday. Some of her friends and people. And while I was there, she gave me this lovely new edition of her book, Mirabot's Fables, which is so good. And it's from Cardia Writing and Publishing. But the new edition of her lovely book features one of my quotes, one of my critical quotes praising the book, which I said, I'll read it. Kelly Mirabot is an incredible leadership coach who has given her clients the best expertise and wisdom for years. In her book of timely fables, Mirabot transcends her outstanding consultation skills from the stage to the page in an insightful, unapologetic, and whimsical read that will inspire you to do better for yourself and community. I love how I write, y'all. I'm sorry. I wrote that. I too would want to check this book out. But when you really like something, and I meant all of it from my heart, like it's such a good book, and she's really good at what she do. I mean, just her work in, consulting and just leadership training and all of that. She works with like big clients. She's worked with government agencies. She's worked with Fortune 500 companies. She's worked with people from various leadership levels. She works for everybody. And it's interesting being in a consulting role where you are someone who does that type of coaching. You give out skills, you give out lessons, you train people, but to then reinvent, fables out of the things that you've taught people. It's like consultation in a book. It's dope. I just love the concept, and it's really good. And you probably have seen in my IG story, the new edition where I was showing it off. But I really love this book. So no, the party was fabulous. She was great. It was great. My mom got to come and everything before she headed out. My mom always have a good old time in Philly. Every time she come out, she's that girl in Philly. Like everyone just be hype. It was interesting when she went to the event. There was some men there that were definitely looking. I was like, listen, no, 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 no. I am, you know, I was just cracking up. It was funny. I also got to hang out with my Eater family, the editor in chief of Eater, the entire Eater, Stephanie Wu, and some great staff from the national office came to Philly. There was a food convention this past week, and we got together. They asked me where should we go for drinks and bites and to hang out, and I recommended A Bar. Ellen Yin's. One of her wonderful gems, A Bar in Rittenhouse, just to get everybody together. It was a good group of us, and we just caught up and was chit chatting and drinking and having a good old time, which was fabulous. It was just great to see them and talking about my advice column that drops this week, which I'm super excited about. More on that later, but it's going to be super exciting. Super excited about this advice column. It's coming out Wednesday, but more on that later. So it was fabulous to just catch up and see people and just feel the love. Also, Lip Brothers, we're back, and I know y'all knew we were back. We're back with another happy hour with the Lip Brothers, including myself, Ernest Owens. No, the Lip Brothers were back. We are out here in these streets. We have been nonstop. So we had a great brunch at Sin, which I haven't been to Sin since it had its grand opening last fall. But they now have a brunch that is epic and it's happening every Sunday. It's giving like day party vibes. I mean, nice seats, nice. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. They finally have mastered their brunch situation. Because for a long time, people really wanted brunch at Sin. I mean, Sin has a great happy hour, great dinner, great indoor loungy vibe. But now they have a brunch. And the brunch is sexy, grown and sexy. It is fun. It is a real Sunday brunch. So I highly recommend it. But the Lip Brothers was there and we had a good old time. We've been having a good old time this whole week. So we also hit up Osteria. It was National Siblings Day, so my brother came along with us. And it was Osteria has this really beautiful garden, this beautiful garden patio indoor. It feels like it's an indoor patio. It's one of them patios where it's like the roof is open, but it's like covered by all these like branches and flowers, and it surrounds the restaurant, but it's enclosed, so it's not open up to the street level. But you still get the outdoor, like it's roofless, roofless, but the sides are covered by all these flowers, so you don't get to see the cars and all that, which is it's safe. It makes sense, but you still get the outdoor feel. But it was fabulous. It was really pretty out there. We had like great bites. We had these fun cocktails. Definitely was feeling like spring in there. Afterwards, my brother and I went to Assemble Arts. We don't call it the Kimmel Center anymore. Y'all, it's hard for me. I have to say, I call it the Kimmel Center, but they want to call it Assembly Arts, which is basically Ensemble Arts. I think it's Assembly Arts. Basically, Kimmel Center is no more. Like Kimmel Center as the building, everything exists. But they have a rebrand now to Ensemble Arts, which is basically a collaboration of all of these theater groups and little buildings all over throughout. The Academy of Music, all of those like theaters up and down, they're now called Ensemble Arts. So they don't say Kimmel Center, because the thing is that when people say the Kimmel, people think in their head it's at the Kimmel Center. The Kimmel Center exists, but they don't call everything Kimmel anymore because the shows are at different theaters. So, for example, we saw Hadestown this week. Lovely show. Wonderful. Now I understand why I won this Tony's. I've never seen a Hadestown before, but my brother and I saw it and we loved it. We were mesmerized. I'm trying to turn him into like this thespian interest, a little theater, file, like I am. So I'm like he loved it, he liked it. The thing is, I was a little nervous because I hadn't seen Hades Town, so I couldn't be like, oh, this is gonna be a great show, you're gonna like it. We both had to watch it together, but we both watched it and we both enjoyed it. And he really loved the show. So now I'm like, okay, next time we go to show, like I'm excited. I'm really here for his love of the arts and the theater. But what's interesting about it is that we was at the Academy of Music, and the Kimmel Center is the Kimmel Center, But the interesting thing is, I don't even know if the Kimmel Center itself actually do shows in that building. So that big building you see has the Philadelphia Orchestra. It has all these the ballet. All of those shows happen in that building. But that building is not the Kimmel building. It's like strips. There's like several theaters that are out throughout Philly that is under the quote unquote Kimmel umbrella, but is not. I don't know. Anyway. There is a branding thing. So what they've decided to do is to say, rather than call it the Kimmel Center or put it in the Kimmel, because it was called the Kimmel Cultural Campus, which I was always turned off by that title. Like, why are you call? I get that you can call it a campus, but I just was like, ugh, why are we calling it that? That just sounds very like super. I don't know. It just sounds super corporate. It doesn't sound sexy. The Kimmel Cultural Campus. I think it's gonna be in it. I don't know. But they used to call it that. I used to always just be like, ugh, that's just so random. So now they call it Ensemble Arts. And that embodies all of these various spaces within the quote unquote Kimmel family. So now everything is labeled Ensemble Arts, because it's an ensemble and it contains everything in it rather than one. So it's been hard to adjust to that thinking. They've definitely done a rebranding. So when you get your playbill, for Hadestown, I want to say was the first, well, maybe the second, but the first major show they've done where the playbill does not say Kimmel Cultural Campus. It says Ensemble Arts. And so it was definitely an eye-popping thing. Even my little 16-ounce cups, like for those who go to a lot of the shows, y'all know they got those 16-ounce cups that you can bring to get refills, and you get discounts on your drinks. And so, we came in and got a double shot. I got him baby's first, 16 ounce. He got one that now every time we go to shows, it's like, you better come get these refills. Cause listen, if you go to shows like I do, like I go to a show, I try to go to a show at least once a month, if not sometimes twice a month. Like at some periods when Arden come out with their season, I'm at the Arden and I'm at, I'm at the, okay, not Kimmel, Ensemble Arts. Now I'm at the Ensemble Arts. Like, so I go to a lot of shows, but like, if you are like myself and you are someone who goes to a lot of theater shows, it is worth the investment. I think I talked about the cups before, and a couple of you all went to shows and bought them and told me you thought about me. Look at me influencing. But like, yes. So anyway, those cups still say Kimmel Cultural Campus. And I'll be damned if they tell me, oh, that don't work anymore. No, baby, it still work. You just need to switch out the cup if you really want me to get one of them cups that say Ensemble Arts. To be clear, they're not telling us to switch their cups, but I will switch my cup out for an Ensemble Arts cup to be cute. Now, it was a good time. Show was really good. Show's not even going on. The show's last day was this past weekend. It was a short. They're on a national tour. Hadestown's on a national tour. So literally, I went probably like the opening night, and then now, and that was like on Wednesday, and now they're out. Sunday was their last show. So it's like the national tours, they come and they go. Frozen was kind of like that, but I didn't go see Frozen. And I was also, I missed, like, no shade, but like the shows that I missed while I was, doing the process for Alpha, it wasn't shows that I was like, oh, I got to see it, I feel bad. But now I'm like, okay, I need to hit these shows coming up. These next shows coming up are really good. So I'm excited. We also, Lit Brothers, went to Philadelphia Distilling, which is our favorite, like one of our favorite Philly places. They're doing an Earth Day event that is going on for the next week or so. Like Earth Day is epic. We do care about the environment. Like I told you, all this climate change is got me thinking about new ways. But also we need to urge government officials to step up, because they're the ones who can stop all this greenhouse emissions and also C2O that is really penetrating and hurting our ozone and also just fucking up the climate for everybody. Like, my goodness. So yes, I encourage you to go. What's really fun about this Philadelphia Distilling situation is that it's like a little fun little happy hour tasting menu vibe. So you get these really great bites, you get these really great cocktails, and you get to choose between the cocktails, which is even more fun. The cocktails are like really creative and inventive, but good. Let me be clear, they're good and very, very good. There's a drink in there that's like a remix on an espresso martini, but it's like a dessert cocktail like vibe. Like it's giving like it would be like an espresso esque Negroni vibe in a very good cocktail glass with the cube. I just love it. It was a really great drink. And I'm not into espresso martinis, but whatever that drink was, that was fire. There was also a fruit one that they did, but they used sustainable ingredients like free trade cocoa. But then they had one with a dehydrated pineapple, and it was like all this crazy stuff. I don't want to give it away too much, but these were really fun, creative, inventive drinks that were really, really tasty. And some of them, to be honest, should be on the permanent menu because it was fire. They even had like really great fun bites that were like sustainable and fun things they did that's creative. And it was a fun, mind-boggling experience. And also there's a cool art deco, and it's upstairs. There's this cool event space upstairs at Philadelphia Ceiling. They also got like a little cigar bar situation on the other side, which I need to get into and find out more about it. I don't smoke, but sometimes I do a little cute little cigar puff because us alphas, we have a good brotherhood smoke, so we'll go out and do a little cigar and boom, boom. But like this was super dope, and I loved it to bits. What else? But yes, it was a time. It was a time. Now moving into some other tea, that is important. This is an important PSA. Not talking about anything specifically, but just observations out in the larger Philadelphia community and around. COVID is still here. Now, I have not gotten COVID, to be clear. I'm still like been COVID free this entire time. But 4 years since COVID, and COVID is still here. People, if you are around people that are sick, don't for 5 seconds think that, oh, it's just a little cough, a little cold. Get tested. Because you never know. You know what I'm saying? You could be giving someone else COVID and then they got to deal with it. And you never know. You could be want to go to an event or go to a nice party. And because somebody just didn't do the basic things, which is just to say, you know what? I should just get a COVID test and just make sure I isolate myself. You can impact another person's opportunity to have a really good time somewhere. So I'm just speaking in general. Just get tested. Just don't play with COVID. Wash those hands. Cover that face. If you're working in communal spaces with people that's under the weather, tell them to take their ass home. Nobody is worth it. No job is worth it. Fortunately, a lot of people are not being burdened by symptoms of long COVID, but it can cause a risk, and it is still out there. I personally, even though I may have some special DNA, myself, my brother, my mother, my brothers, none of us have gotten COVID. None of us. It's wild, y'all. Like none of us has gotten it. But I'm all about vaccinations, and I get my vaccines and I keep up with it, but I also keep my distance. But you gotta have those conversations. Even hypothetically, like if someone tells me they was exposed or could potentially be, you still gotta tell people asymptomatic people could also still be testing positive for COVID, even if they don't have the symptoms anymore. They're well or they're reduced. You could still have it in the system and still pass it as an asymptomatic person. So it's important to take that time. Be smart. You around people that's under the weather. Tell them to back the fuck up. You around somebody that's sick. Until you know what it is, you got to separate because you don't want no one else to get it. You know what I'm saying? So just always, just this COVID is still out here. And I just want people to just, to do, still take it seriously. Let's be clear. The pandemic, we're still in this world, right? Yes, we've been able to function. Yes, vaccinations have helped improve quality. But let me be very clear. The government has enough on their plate right now where they spend so much time talking about everything. They don't want to keep talking about COVID, even though COVID cases have been in some interesting influxes, right? But they want to move on. They want to talk about what's going on with Iran and Israel. Iran and Israel. They want to talk about other stuff, right? They want to talk about this 2020 election, the 2024 election. They want to talk about other stuff. But just because they want to talk about other stuff do not mean that the other stuff is still not happening, right? Like, poverty is still happening in Philadelphia. There's still issues around gun violence. A masjid, this past week during Eid in West Philly, not too far from me, there was a shooting that involved young people. And while there were no murders, no one died in this entire situation, even though the shooters got apprehended, no one died. That was fortunate. It was a very scary thing. You saw hundreds upon hundreds of people that were out praying during a holy day, a holy holiday, had to basically evacuate, and it was terrorizing. Just want people to just, there's other things going on outside of election. Elections do matter, but let's be a little bit more global. Let's be a little bit more holistic, and let's wash those hands. Let's keep our distances so that we can all be able to celebrate and be able to go out to things and not miss milestones and things. Because, I can only, get tested, put your ego aside, whatever do what you got to do, because you will regret the things being missed out on based on it. Wash those hands. Hey, bring out some masks, face masks. It ain't bring them out. But we got to take care of ourselves and our health. We can't sleep on it. Anytime I get a little whiffle, look, I still be doing COVID. I still keep COVID tests on deck. But I don't play. I tell my students too. I'm Professor Ed Cheney. Right now we're doing final presentations. One of my students was like, I'm under the weather. I said, you know what? If you really sick like you say you are, come do it next week, child. Don't do your final. Do it next week. Because I don't want nobody coming in here sick, go next week. Next week. So that's that. So this week in politics and everything's been going on with these hot topics. Biden officially has, at the end of March, after they did the reporting, this is the end of first quarter, he has $192 million. Yes, Joe Biden, the guy that you all keep saying there's low enthusiasm around, which could be true too. He has $192 million in his coffers. Okay? $192 million. How much does Donald Trump currently have? $93 million. So let's do that math. Biden, 192. Trump, 93. Biden literally has over $100 million more than him. Biden has over double Trump has right now. And we are about 7 months out. 7 months out. We're less than 7 months away from the election. The election is on November 5th. I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention to this stuff. I'm probably the only podcast that is giving it to you like this. Because a lot of podcasts, I'm going to throw my shade, a lot of media outlets, a lot of are not really, I will say my print journalists and reporters, some of them are doing it right. But a lot of these commentators out here on these channels, they are really not giving you all the holistic scope of this election. And it will make you all think that Trump is just so more ahead. Trump has some momentum and there's some energy for Trump. But I want y'all to understand that Biden ain't somewhere hiding under a rock. There is a lot of financial, political investment. I tell people, show me your priorities by showing me your budget. You show me your priorities by showing me your budget. His budget, his war chest is ready for battle. He's running TV ads already. Trump ain't got a goddamn ad, and Trump ain't got a headquarters. Biden is opening up headquarters across the country. There is one in Philadelphia. The Pennsylvania headquarters is in Philly. I'm just saying, could there be better things? All that, yeah. But please, when it comes to talking about this, either tell it all the way or just don't say anything at all. There's got to be a better way to discuss this election. And I think people are ignoring essence. essence of an election is not just polls. Yes, polls play a role, but polls have been wrong because polls would have had you thinking that Hillary was going to win. Every poll, for the most part, except maybe one or three or whatever, most 95, 98% of polls said Hillary was going to win. And Trump whooped that ass in 2016. 2020, polls was acting like, oh, Biden's going to have to struggle to get the votes. And he became arguably the U.S. president with the most votes from Americans in history. He's technically the most popular president based on votes. That's what I'm saying. I just think we need to look at facts. We need to look at the data. Yes, you can analyze trends, but you also got to look at the facts as they are. History tells us that candidates with huge financial war chests win. Not always, but when it comes to presidential races, when the money is that high for one candidate over another, that candidate has an advantage. When you're looking at polls now, early polls had Biden behind in Pennsylvania. Now he's up 10 points. He's doing well. He's doing better. What changed? What changed? What could have changed is all these goddamn trials that Trump is ducking and diving, dodging, ducking and diving, ducking and dodging. What could be happening is that people are starting to see some stuff Trump is saying and doing, right? Trump social flopped. People out here was like, oh, that's it. Trump stock, the Trump is going to come out. They ain't got no money. They ain't got no money. They're not in that position. First of all, when you have a dumb, low educational voter block, see, everybody wants to talk about Democratic voters are low education and all that. No, Trump supporters, what they know about stock? See, the issue with Trump is Trump talk out the side of his neck, right? Trump wants you to hate this elite, right? But then also the narrative is they're supposed to like Wall Street, but they hate Wall Street. They hate the man. You've made everybody hate anything that's rich and smart except for you. In your head, you think you're a rich, successful, smart man. Whatever, sure, right? He thinks that. His whole argument is that everybody else that's not him is a problem. So his supporters will not support institutions that are there. They won't go to Wall Street and invest in him. Like, they're not buying stock. Like, they're not doing that for him. He's then convinced them that everything in this country is bad. That's not him. So maybe they'll buy a Bible. Maybe they'll buy, a Trump shirt. But in convincing them to convert to invest in stock with Wall Street, oh no, they're not going to do that. And so Trump's messaging is off. The people he needs to win are not the people that can really support him the way they need to. Because the donor dollars are not there. Where are those donor dollars? Where are they? I don't see them. They don't exist. And I don't think it's going to get any better for him because now he's having to do all of these crazy stunts to raise money. It's getting bad out there. It's getting worse. So Trump is campaigning in Pennsylvania. It's been a big old uproar for several days. Everyone's been talking about him coming to Pennsylvania. He's got to come to Pennsylvania. He's got to start doing these rallies. He's been really low off the rallies because he's been dealing with his legal stuff, but he's trying to keep the momentum going. The crowds aren't as crazy as they used to be. They're not as loud as they used to be. I mean, he still gets people to come out, but people are a little bit tired of him. There is fatigue. There is Trump fatigue. And I think people are just tired of the same rhetoric and talking points, but he's a broken record. Biden is also going to come to Pennsylvania, I believe, this week and start making appearances, which makes sense. Vice President Kamala Harris made a surprise appearance last week at the Philadelphia Democratic City Committee dinner, which was at a labor union building out there on Delaware Avenue. And she was there, made a surprise appearance. I was at the Philadelphia Democratic City Committee dinner. I got to see Madam Mayor Cherelle Parker, who we're going to talk about a little bit more in the show. But she made her, she was there looking lovely, feeling good. And it was a couple of who's that were there. As now we are about to be a week away from the the Pennsylvania Democratic primary. The Pennsylvania primaries is next Tuesday. Okay, next Tuesday. It is going down. April 23rd. The primary is going to be on Tuesday, April 23rd. Make sure you vote. Let me explain something to y'all. It ain't just about voting, right? It's not about just voting for, the president. Biden's going to win in Pennsylvania. We know this. We're not focused on that. There's some big AG races coming up. That's what we're talking about. We got Keir Bradford Gray, the only woman running in the Democratic primary for Attorney General. She's a black woman, the only black woman running, the only black person running in this race. Everyone else is predominantly, it's all male, mostly white or whatnot. It's a very, very, interesting primary. I don't know if she's gonna win, but she has a fighting chance. People are looking at Joe Kahn. People think Joe Kahn might pull it. Now, Joe Kahn was the guy who was in Bucks County. He was their solicitor, big deal. I believe he was, not controller. I think he was a solicitor in Bucks County. He also was in Philadelphia for a period of time and ran for district attorney against Krasner during the first iteration of that. That was back in 2017. Since then, he has he has, I guess, relocated to Bucks County, and now he's over there. But now he wants to be attorney general, and he's got some interesting support. I mean, he's got a progressive slant, some people say, but he comes off a little bit more moderate to me. His brother is Tariq Khan, which is the big state rep who is got endorsed by Working Families Party. He's got endorsed by all these different progressive groups. And so there is Tariq Khan is his brother who was a state rep, got elected. So this little brother duo, which his brother, Tariq Khan, is a doctor at Penn, or was at Penn. I think now he's fully in politics, but that was his whole thing about science and medicine and things. And now he's a state representative, and he's a real progressive right there. But now his brother Tariq Khan is running for AG, and so that should be interesting. The Khans are going to try to, we're going to have the next political, duo here. It reminds me of Jamie Gautier and her sister, Samantha Williams. Samantha Williams is a judge. Gautier is a city council member. She's my city council member, actually. I'm in her district. So it's interesting to see that dynamic play out. Then, of course, history is going to be made. Andre Carroll is shaping up to be the second openly black gay state rep in Pennsylvania history, following Malcolm Kenyatta, who is currently running for Auditor General. And he's going to most likely win because he has the party's nomination, even though he does not have not 1 ounce of Auditor General experience. He's never done an audit before. He's not really a business person. He doesn't really know much about finances, to what I know. But he's going to get the Democratic nomination nonetheless because, as you all know from my last week's episode, they really want to get him there so they can make room for other seats. We'll see how that plays out in the general, because I don't really think he's going to win the general. I don't see him winning the general election. But, stranger things have happened. The big race, though, that everyone's talking about is Amin Brown, Saj Purple Blackwell, and Cass Green. They're running in the 10th district in West Philadelphia. This state rep race is epic. It's going to be epic, and it's going to be a fight. And everybody is doing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of mudslinging going on. There's a lot of political stunts and tactics, and it's going to be wild. But we're going to keep our eyes open. And I'm and I'm serious. Like we got to see where this is going to go. But I don't know. I don't know. Anything can happen in that race. I'm if I'm a betting man, it's going to still be Amin Brown. I think that because everyone says between Cass and him, but I feel like Purple Saj Blackwell is going to continue to take votes away from Cass. And that's what happened last time. And so stay woke on that. Stay woke on that for sure. Want to give you all an update on not Cherelle Parker yet, Chick-fil-A. So there's been all this talk about this Chick-fil-A video where Donald Trump goes in, gives everybody milkshakes, and everybody's all these black people in Atlanta is supposed to be so hype, or in Georgia, because I don't even know if it was Atlanta, but it's supposed to be so hype and excited. Oh my God. And people are like, oh my goodness, like, Trump's got the, black voters. It's like, stop it. Cut it out. Stop it. Like, stop taking the fucking bait. Can I just say that one more time? Stop taking the fucking bait. Stop doing this. It's anti-black. It really is anti-black. What Trump did is anti-black, but you all's reactions are anti-black. You know that black people are better than this. Stop fucking taking the bait. I am so happy that somebody clocked it. An influencer, not influencer, one of these social media political commentators who's on social media, basically found the video, looked at the girl, one of the women who's in the video, the one that's like so hype or happy with she has, I think, like locks or like long braids. She is a GOP political consultant or a fellow. She's done work with the GOP. There were several people that was in. This was acted out, like this was a planned ordeal. Like there are certain people that were spotted in those photos that are black Republicans that are already worked on the campaign. They're not regular people that just stopped and saw Trump and got excited. Okay, they didn't just pop up with a Trump hat ready for him to sign. Like this was all manufactured. And let me tell you, Trump has been doing a lot of manufactured hype around black voters. There was a picture that was found where a recent picture where Trump was apparently in a photo with a bunch of young black men. That picture was AI generated. It was an AI generated photo. And throughout, apparently, his campaign, his team has been doctoring up AI photos with him with people of color. And this has been happening recently, and it's been driving the stupid anti-black, because I got to call people out. Democrats and liberals want to sit up and fixate on black people. Stop it. The black vote is going to go to Biden, whether or not we agree with him 100% or not. It just is what it's going to be. We're not voting in mass for Trump. We're not voting in mass third party. Like, stop it. Don't let this idiot Charlemagne the God, which we're going to get on him next, get you all caught up in all this dumbass debauchery. Stop telling me white people, okay? Because I need to let y'all be known I'm worried about the black vote. No, you need to be worried about the white vote, because it's always been the white vote that has fucked everything up, okay? Like, the white vote was the reason why we got Bush. The white vote was how we got Trump the first time. The white vote, let's not talk about the black vote. Black vote has always been on the right side of history, okay? The black vote has always been fine. Don't tell me you're worried about the black vote. You need to be worried about the white vote, okay? Just keep it 100. Don't tell me you're worried about the black vote or how black voters are going to show up. Don't do it, okay? Because we can afford, honestly, when we show up, look, black women are 95% for Democrats. If based on percentage numbers of population, we can lose a few percentage points and still be high, still be on top. If white women show up under 50% for Democrats, that could cost the election. Because you got to look at population numbers. Our 3%, our 98% is not enough to get Democrats elected by itself because of our population size. Y'all don't even got to do 90%. If the white vote came in at 60 for Biden, that's all we would need. Shit, if y'all even give us over 50%, that's all we need. It's a numbers game, y'all. Pay attention to the stats. Pay attention to population. Stop putting this burden on black people. We spend too much time talking about black people. No, we need to talk about white women. We need to talk about these white men. We need to talk about how they're voting across all education levels. Because we're not going to play it like, oh, educated white people are voting. No. Some of them are also not doing what they need to do percentage-wise. I need college-educated white men and white women to do even better. Y'all need to be at, I think they're like roughly 60 or something like that. I need y'all to be at 80%, okay? All of my white educated people listen to this podcast, I need y'all got to go. Get y'all people to 80% because that will help carry the needle. Blue collar, white voters, they're in the range. But Biden can focus on them and handle that. Everybody has a part to play in this election. And I wish people stop worrying about whatever. We're going to get these black men in check. Okay? I'm going to get black men in check. Black women, listen, y'all sit back and relax. Y'all got this. Y'all got what y'all got going on. Just make sure y'all keep voting the way y'all need to vote. Like, y'all need to worry about each other. Black men, we can get these black men together. We can, listen, we good anyway, but we at like 92. Let's try to get to 95, okay? Latinos, y'all numbers are saying something very interesting. Y'all need to get over there to Florida. I need a Biden caucus in Florida, okay, to talk to them, to explain to them that I understand y'all don't like Cuba, all that stuff. But voting Republican has never worked in your best interest as a collective. I know some people got their thoughts about immigration, but let's be clear. Biden ain't out here trying to do all this progressive stuff around. He's a moderate, okay? And you better look at Obama's record on the border, because he was deporting more people than Trump did. And he was supposed to be a liberal. So I'm just saying, y'all need to start having some conversations. Stop worrying about this black vote. Black voters got it over here. We got this. Y'all need to be worried about y'all communities. Because them numbers ain't. And Latino vote could make a difference, as well. But if you're looking at the regression of people going for Trump, you start looking at them numbers, you start realizing, black people, we stop putting everything on black people. That's all I got to say. Like, black voters are not the reason. But moving along, Chick-fil-A video. Let me get into this, like I was saying. So anyway, that video was doctored. People was on the internet overreacting, really, going ham about it. There was YouTube videos. The Shade Room with its messy ass self decided to put it out there. And yet people in the comments debating, and everybody would say, black voters are, y'all got to stop doing this. Stop falling for the bait. You see Trump with black people, just believe it's a lie. Just say it's a damn lie. Unless it's Diamond and Silk, but one of them passed away, RIP. Unless it's Candace Owens, who's now canceled. Let's stop entertaining this. Let's stop giving so much weight to these people. I really want us to be better when it comes to that, because I keep hearing all of these stories, about everything. And it's gotten to a point where the situation has gotten super messy. And we don't need that, we don't need it at all. So I just want people to really use their brain, use their noggin, and let that be, the case. Focus on that. Because everything else, just every time we see Trump with black people, then people say, there goes the election. Look, black people are not a monolith, but collectively we do vote largely the right way. One black person talking to Trump ain't gonna stop no show. A couple of black people entertaining Trump is not. But the thing is, the Chick-fil-A thing was a stunt. And I thought several things when I did see that. Like, when I first saw the video, look, I was like, it could be true. It could not be true. But even if it was, my mindset is people see famous people and people, show up and show out. Like, honestly, look, people talking all this shit about Biden. But let me tell you something right now. If Biden came down West Philly, folks will go outside. They will. They're going to go outside. If Trump came down, folks will come outside. They ain't going to vote for him, but just because of the spectacle of celebrity and attention, people will just do that. That's just what it is. We live in a celebrity culture. Like, that's just what it's going to be, right? Who else I would say? Also, too, like at that Chick-fil-A, for example, he is a former U.S. president. If you thought black folks was going to risk their jobs trying to cut up or be disrespectful and do all that, these are working class people. Working class people are not going to sacrifice their bag, especially when you got a lot of folks that are blue collar folks that, no shade, a lot of blue collar folks will sit up there and do all of that cutting up and hollering. And the reality is that they will not advocate for workers like that who could lose their jobs, especially someone that's not unionized. So, let's not do all of that. People just become a whole different person on the internet. It is what it is. I've seen it. I've been there, done that. We just got to be realistic about what's happening. Yes, some of y'all got money and degrees and connections where you could say, not my president, be disrespectful. Yeah, okay. With Secret Service right there, yeah, okay. Understand that people got to still navigate survival in this country and that everything is not the way it appears, as we have now seen. So those employees that was there and he was talking to them, those are real workers, right? Yeah, they said hi, hello, probably shook his hand because that's at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? No one's going to be, doing anything, especially with a man like that. You serious? No, they did their job. They kept it cute. They kept it moving. I ain't mad at them. This crowd of people that was so hyped to see him, that was manufactured. We all realized at the end of the day, they found out that there were certain people that coordinated. That was all a stunt. Now we realize people wasn't running up to say hi to Trump. But here's the thing. I do believe that there will be people that will do that. They will take their little selfie. They will have a little moment. But you know what? They're not going to vote for him. But it's funny, though. There's people that I meet. I'm a little shady. I went to the Grammys. I saw Jason Lee. I took a selfie with him because I just wanted to be able to say I saw Jason Lee. And then posted on my IG story. I was like, you see this idiot who now just won a primary to be in Stockton City Council. Now he wants to be elected official. Child, the internet, the world. He won a Democratic primary, y'all. This man is looking like he's going to go to, looking like he might go to City Hall or something. Stay woke on that. But moving along. Cherelle Parker is now mayor for 100 days. 100 days of Cherelle Parker is mayor of Philadelphia. It's been 100 days, and she has been mayor. Mayor Cherelle Parker has now become the first woman mayor. She's the first woman mayor in Philadelphia history. But the fourth, because we keep forgetting Wilson Good. It's Wilson Good, John Street, Nutter, and now Parker. I always say third because I forget about Wilson Good after what he did with the move bombing. But he was the first black mayor and got elected a second term after he dropped the bomb that killed several people, including innocent children. But I guess I digress. But no, there's been a lot of buzz around her. She made a big appearance on SEPTA. She wrote the SEPTA talking to Philadelphians and buzz. I want to just say that the first 100 days, look, it's been 100 days. I think she's doing pretty fine. I think she's doing good. I think that she has been very visible. She's been very accessible. She's been just full of energy in a way that has been an energizer. I'm following it. I'm following some, things that people are talking about. But you guys got to understand, I'm not coming in swinging with grenades early. You do that. You come in swinging with grenades early, then people already know your hand and everybody plays you. No, I have to be observant. I have to be fair. I just have to assess the situation. I think too many people just like chaos. But then the problem is they're cowards, right? Because the same people that want you to not be disciplined or reflective or evolve as a journalist, even think thought process, they will say they want the mess. But it's I'm not Wendy Williams. I'm not that. I'm not TMZ. I don't know what some of y'all thought this was, but I'm an actual journalist, and journalists are observant. They think when they go, they assess. Let's be very clear. I did not call for Kenny's resignation until his second term. I wasn't critical about Kenny policies until I want to say after his first year when he's pushing the soda tax. She hasn't put in enough policies that should be ridiculed because at the end of the day, you got to create a policy plan, which is what she's been doing. You have to implement policy aggressively, and we have to see results. So if you think I'm just going to come in bashing a black woman that is trying to clean up the mess of a white man who's been in office for 8 years too long and has made matters worse, then I'm sorry, you got the wrong guy. I got to observe. I'm not saying that, Oh my God, I'm a Cherelle Parker stan. She can do no wrong. Worship and grab her feet. Absolutely not. However, I am holding a lot of my opinions to let her be able to do the damn job. See, if you come in attacking a person that is starting on day one, like, let me be clear. Trump, we knew Trump was trash from day one. Cherelle, in many ways, has campaigned. She's got to put things in motion. I want to see that, but I also want to see other legislators. I want to see city council. Is city council going to push back? Is city council going to challenge things? Like, we got to see all this play out. And so far, there appears to be civility within both City Hall and City Hall, between the mayor's administration and city council so far. We're going to see this budget, though. Like, I want to see the budget. The budget, like, I want to see how this budget is going to play out, because that's going to open up doors for questions and considerations. But we got to see this stuff play out. And I feel like too many people just want to jump the gun and just go ham. And I think that's just dumb. I think that's dumb. I think that's dumb to just go all out there. I mean, if you're an activist and you don't like her, okay. Like, I understand people just naturally don't like certain elected officials if their person don't win. But where is your person, though? Where is Helen Gim? Okay, she just popped up for one appearance and then went back to her rich life. Like, you know, your favorite progressive was a super, super rich woman who pretty much didn't need to be mayor to maintain her wealth. Cherelle Parker, however, didn't come from money. She didn't. She's not rich. You know, in many ways, she's, you know, in many ways currently a single mom to a certain extent. Like, she was the only person that was a major contender. Let me be clear. Major contender that pretty much was not wealthy. Like, Rebecca Reinhardt had money in the bank. Like, she's wealthy. Alan Dom, super wealthy. Helen Gim, wealthy. Like, Cherelle Parker didn't come from money. Cherelle Parker was literally making her salary. The majority of her money came from her salary as a city council person. A lot of your favorite elected officials that were there, Rebecca Reinhardt, not the case. Dom, clearly not the case. Alan Dom was clearly not the case. Helen Gim, no, not the case. Her husband, pharmaceutical exec. Like, they got money. You know another fun fact? All the people I named, except Cherelle Parker, lived in the same zip code, lived in Rittenhouse, lived in Center City, lived in the same area. So, might want to consider sometimes these conversations. Just saying. So, moving along, Usher. Usher cannot stop talking about his ex. He's on the cover of Essence. He's one of the sexiest men of the moment. Really, I want to say, of the past decade and before that. Usher's a very attractive man. I mean, he's a Libra. Of course he's attractive. But, you know, people have been talking about this lately. So he just got recently married. He got married during the Super Bowl time. But he did this interview and they asked him about, you know, who was his first celebrity crush. And he wanted to talk about Chili. I just don't understand. Why are you still talking about your ex? Why are you still talking about Chili? Chili done moved on. She got that nice guy from Boy Meets World, who's cute white guy. You know, she's got a guy. You know, she's doing good with herself. Like, she's moved on. You know, she's like a Jesus freak. She's like super religious. But she's moved on. Like you got to move on. You know, like at a certain point. And you married. Like, her boyfriend is Matthew Lawrence. He is so cute. He used to be so cute on that TV show. But, like, Matthew Lawrence is her man. She's living her best life. You know? They're in this interracial relationship. You know, and they're making it work. You know, he's an Aquarius. Libras love Aquariuses. Like, you know, she's a Pisces. Interesting enough. But, you know, she's out here doing her thing. Rosanda, that's her real name, Rosanda Thomas. But she's living her best life. She's 53. She's fabulous. She's doing her thing. And she's moving on. And he's got to let her go. Matthew Lawrence is living his best life. You know, He's doing his thing. Like, they gotta let him go. Talk about the age gap. So he's 44 and she's 53. But listen, baby, she don't look nothing like it of it. But like, again, living their best lives. Usher, you gotta move on. You gotta move on. And you technically did move on. Just saying. He technically moved on, right? Mm. So, moving along, I am cracking up. I crack myself up. Because I'm moving along. Moving along. Oh, goodness. This tea is hot. The Breakfast Club is no longer going to be running in syndication. During the Breakfast Club is not going to be running in syndication during Atlanta, like one popular Atlanta station that has the Ricky Smiley show. They're going to stop running the Breakfast Club on their airwaves. So you know that the Breakfast Club is through iHeartMedia, right? The iHeartMedia family. It's a national show that's syndicated. Like, I guess that's what they call it. Like, it's basically they move it through different. You hear the Breakfast Club on different radio stations throughout major stations throughout the country, and so iHeart basically distributes the show. Yes, it's on in New York, right? But they distribute that show through various radio stations all throughout the country. Atlanta station, the station I'm talking about, is a very big station. The Ricky Smiley show used to be on there. A lot of big shows. That's like the height. Like Atlanta radio station is the height of black radio. That's a major black, market. The Breakfast Club is not going to be running on there anymore. Whoa. That's a big damn deal. Is it because of ratings? Is it because of other things? We don't really know the inside. But there is an interest now to just, hey, look, we don't need the Breakfast Club on here. Whatever it's doing. And I would argue that it must be connected to ratings because you will naturally pick up a national syndicate to basically help keep, ads going and stuff booming. That's how the iHeart market for terrestrial radio works. You get a show, you put it out and distribute it. And if it's a popular national show, you want to get it on it. And that's kind of what they do with TV, right? So, like CBS or local channels, right? They will pick up certain types of national syndicated shows through their market. So in Philadelphia, we have the Kelly Clarkson show, we have the Jennifer Hudson show, Tamron Hall, and those are shows that those local affiliates choose to pick up. But let's say that they want to create their own show. Like the CBS affiliate says, you know what? We want to create the Ernest show. I am talking hypothetically, but let's just say they want to do the Ernest show. And my ratings were so good that they said, you know what? We can put this show. We don't need to have the Kelly Clarkson show because more people are watching the Ernest Owens show than the Kelly Clarkson show in Philadelphia. So we can actually not have to have them because we can make more money somewhere else. It appears that, I guess, this Atlanta affiliate station does not need the Breakfast Club. And that's a big deal because for many stations, everyone said the Breakfast Club was good for ratings, good for business. I wonder how many other big market stations are going to not also have the Breakfast Club running. Because if that happens, that's a sign of the end. I always felt like personally the sign of the end was when Angela Yee left. I felt like once Yee left, the band really was broken. But we don't know yet. We still got the verdict is still out there. And so it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Because there's a lot of stuff happening right now, and I am very curious to see what this means. But I told you that next year Charlamagne the God's contract is up for renewal. I think he's not going to stay. I think if I was a betting man, I think he's riding his time out. Just hilarious or less hilarious. If I was her, I would just enjoy this year or next year because I don't see it. I don't see it. Personally, I don't see it because It's looking like, I don't know. It's looking like maybe, maybe this is going to happen. Maybe not. But it's looking like it might take shape. So we're going to see. We're going to see. But stay woke. Stay woke. Speaking of staying woke, I really wasn't going to talk about this, but because so many of you all were, talking to me about this, O.J. Simpson is died at 76 years old from cancer. I'm not the craziest O.J. person because, to be clear, he's been a mess. He's been a mess. He's been a mess. But I say all this to say that it's been interesting to see how white people have reacted to his death. I made the joke the other day that, that song, I'm Walking on Sunshine, which I think is like a white, that's their song. I'm walking on sunshine. Ooh, then doesn't it feel good? Look, OJ is somebody that, like, he is the ultimate supervillain. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, he is the ultimate supervillain. I don't know if OJ, I mean, what do I know? I was a millennial when this all happened. I was not a millennial. I was what? This happened, OJ verdict, happened in 1995. I was like 4 years old, maybe 3. I wasn't even 4 yet, probably, because I was born in October. So that happened around when I was like 3.5 years old. But it's a landmark trial. Like, he died 29 years after that. I mean, the 30th anniversary of that verdict is going to be, next year. It was a moment in race studies and relations. It's an iconic trial. I don't know, again, I don't know if OJ did it himself physically. I don't know. But what I will say is I do think he had something to do with it. I do think he definitely was involved in the killing of Nicole Brown and others. I don't know. Based on what I know of the situation, I don't think he physically killed her. I think he was definitely involved in it. I think he definitely knows the details. I think he caught the hit. I think he had all to do with that. And to be clear, this man was an abusive man. And let's also be clear that this is a man who did not give a fuck about black people like that, even in his height of his success. Like, OJ is literally the embodiment of so many people since then. Like, he is an iconic figure that is beyond himself. He represents a certain type of archetype in pop culture and within society. Like, in black community spaces, this is the man that we see every time you see a black athlete with a white woman. Every time you see a black athlete that reach what we call the Tiger Woods heights of it all, right? Where you become so mainstream that people don't see your racial identity. Where it wasn't OJ is black, he's OJ, right? Like, Tiger Woods isn't black, Tiger Woods is Tiger Woods. Like, you get to that point where you are so mainstream that people don't see you and your circumstances. But then this fall from grace happens where he becomes black again, right? To a certain extent. And he leans into that really because of a Kappa, right? A successful lawyer named Johnny Cochran, who basically is one of the greatest lawyers in American history, who basically is able to, get him out of this situation. It's so much. There's so much there. But it's a moment in time. It's a moment in history. And so many people, that case continues to have legs. Like, the Kardashians become famous. The Kardashian namesake becomes in the conversation because of the father, right? Who's no longer here. And now that starts the brand, right? Kris Jenner is then married to Bruce Jenner. Her ex-husband is Robert Kardashian. She knew OJ. There are speculations of, At the time, it was Bruce Jenner. It's Caitlyn Jenner now, and now Caitlyn is trans and anti-trans at the same time. But that's another story for the day. But at the time, you know, Kris Jenner had got married to the famous tennis star shortly after breaking up with Robert Kardashian, which is the father of Kim, Khloe, and what's the other one name? Oops. Kylie, not Kylie. That's Kylie Jenner. I feel bad. Is it because I always forget about the other one? So I know it's Khloe and Kim. Courtney. Oh yeah, Courtney. But she don't really want with Kourtney Kardashian. She don't want to be with the family like that. Anyway, Courtney, Kim, and Khloe, all the three of them, KKK. Now people were saying condolences to Khloe because people still believe that OJ is Khloe's father. That's going to always be an urban myth. There's no facts. She always feels different from the other ones. She always looks a little different than other ones. Then it's a messy place. But I say all this to say that every time OJ comes up, the way that white people talk about OJ is just like, you want to say the N-word so bad, I can tell. I can tell you want to talk about a lynching. And look, I don't know why anyone's that. Look, what he did was horrible. He's trash. That man definitely has paid the toll. His life. I mean, if you watch Made in America, like the documentary on O.J. Simpson, I know people seen the movie, which is also very good too. But if you look at that documentary, this man's life, I would argue that he was better off in jail than free based on the embarrassing, insufferable years. But again, he's now dead. The man is gone. Moving on. So this week's Ask Ernest has been very interesting to observe. I have this question. I'm going to answer it. I told this person I was going to answer their question. It's really, really juicy for several reasons. But I definitely wanted to answer it. And I love when you all send me messages, because it seemed like Ask Ernest, y'all would just love to send me, advice. So let me scroll down and read this, because this had me in a chokehold. Y'all ain't gonna hold y'all. This had me in a chokehold. Let me find this person. All these DMs. I should have copied and pasted this week. Let me see. Because here's the thing. This was so spicy. I was like, oh my goodness, I need to take the time to answer this. Okay, here it goes. Hi, Ernest. Congrats on all your recent successes. I'm a fan and love seeing all that you're up to. I have a question for your podcast. If you are interested in answering, if it's too personal, feel free to skip. Since you are in a healthy long-term marriage, I'm curious to know your perspective on how to make sure you both are putting in the work without expecting it to be 50-50, and how to avoid, quote, keeping the score in a relationship. How do you make sure that one person isn't doing the bulk of the compromises? I want more reciprocity in my long-term relationship without making it feel transactional. And just to clarify, I'm a bisexual woman in a relationship with a cishet man. So you know that unfortunately, sometimes in straight relationships, certain responsibilities are assumed to be that of the woman, such as the woman being the one to do most of the emotional labor. Even in progressive relationships, would love to hear your thoughts. Ooh, this is a great question. Thank you for this question. I don't know how you straights do it, to be honest. I just want to say that. I don't know how you straights do it. I think that part of me having the healthy relationship that I'm in is because it is a same gender loving relationship. And because we don't have these crazy, stupid gender roles that dictate reciprocity, it's just almost expected. I've been seeing the straights lose their mind. And let me say cisheads because there are straight trans people, clearly, and folks that are in this community that are transgender, that are, but as a gay, but we're talking about gay rights. So this would apply to straight people. Since this will apply to straight trans people as well. Let's be clear. Let me just educate y'all real quick. Transgender identity does not translate to sexual orientation. So a person's being trans is a gender identity matter. It's not a sexuality identity matter. So let me also just say that I don't have to really change my statement on clarifying cishet people in that regard, because to be honest, if you are a person who identifies as a woman and you decide to date a man and you are a trans woman dating a man, that is a heterosexual relationship because that woman identifies as being heterosexual. That man identifies as being heterosexual. So it is a heterosexual relationship. Is it a cishet relationship? No. But again, whether it's cisgender or not, it's about the gender dynamics. Knock, knock. Who's there? Take notes, people. Message. So I say this, I'm speaking in regards to, this has nothing to do with whether you're cisgender or not. We're just talking gender dynamics between men and women or people that's in same gender loving relationships. As a person who's gay, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. People say, oh, do you feel shame being gay? Actually, no. Because I see so many of the straights on social media, because I'm saying the straights because y'all say the gays all the time. I see so many straight people who get on social media and have these frivolous arguments about who's paying for the first date, who take it out the trash. I saw this dumb video about a woman wanting this man to open the door for her and having this debate about him coming out the car, opening the door. I'm just like, y'all be the ones acting like we don't deserve no rights, but y'all be out here exploiting your rights. Like, y'all be out here showing y'all whole ass. And I'm like, what are y'all doing? What is this? What is this, this situation about? Because I don't understand how, you all can have all of this smoke, all of this about little frivolous shit. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I just want to preface it by saying that I do think, you're bisexual. I will tell you, my dear, go ahead and get you a girl. No, I'm joking. I don't know. Maybe you like him. Maybe you love this man. I ain't going to say that. But listen, honey, I don't know what to say, but I'm going to say something. Being in seeing my friends who are straight, right, who are heterosexual, get in these relationships. And I have friends that are trans, I have people that are non-binary, but they're in dynamics in which there is this gender difference. I just feel for them. I feel for them because I feel for some of the women, because I think that there are women who are being expected to do things like you're saying, emotional labor. They're being expected to do certain things. But I even feel sorry for the men, because I think sometimes there is a hard level expectation on them that does not give them the grace and the space to be different or to be different and express themselves differently. It's a lot of pressure. These gender norms and on everybody is so difficult. Seeing it being forced on other men, seeing it being forced on women, seeing this forcedness for performance is just daunting to me. And listen, in queer relationships, there are people that try to perpetuate that, okay? We're not going to get too much into it, but we talking top and bottom dynamics where folks be like, oh, the top got to be real masculine and real aggressive, and the bottom got to be real submissive and pretty. I'm not going to put my business out there and tell y'all what my position is. You can assume what you want to assume. You say, oh, look, he got the tail far back. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're not. Maybe it's verse. Maybe it's Maybelline. You won't ever know. It's none of your business. But what I will say is that dynamics are very different. Because let me tell you this. If I was sitting on it, as Ariana Grande said, you think I'm about to sit around here and be slapped around and be told to do this and do that? It just, gender expression, sexuality, all these things are mutually exclusive. Sometimes they correlate to what people think is stereotypical, and sometimes they don't. I just need the straights to really have conversations with their lovers about what you all need and what you really need, and stop acting like you don't know. Stop suppressing yourself. Be real, because too many people are playing these roles and then they get stressed or exhausting. And I get it. It is exhausting. I can imagine it being exhausting to sit up and pretend that you're something you're not. You get what I'm saying? Like, it must be exhausting to pretend every day that you are a subservient person every day. And let me be clear, subservitude, quote unquote, carries various meanings, right? It has different explanations and meanings. It will take shape in different ways, through different ways and means. You know, different personalities will shape something. You could come into a place where you could say, okay, I want to feel, I feel like tonight I want to cook and I want to be that person for you. But we can evolve in our expressions. We can be different stuff, and I feel like that is very telling. I just hear too many stories about gender dynamics, even in what is considered progressive relationships among straight people. I'm seeing a lot of that happen. And I just want you all out there to be transparent about what you want. Hold your lover accountable. Have those conversations. And if it seems like it's not working, then you need to be real about what you can accept, right? That if there is these ridiculous expectations based on gender performance that are in these very patriarchal sexist relationships, that's a problem. So you were talking about emotional labor. Like, oh, I'm the one expected to be the one to initiate the conversation. I'm the one expected to cry, to do this stuff. Girl, get out that relationship if that man does not know how to be honest about his feelings and about it. If he cannot take initiative to have a conversation, if he can't initiate, expressing how he feels and actually being honest about his feelings, whatever the case is, like, this shit is stupid. Like, you gotta let it be known. I heard some dumb shit the other day about conversations about, I don't know, the straights were having some conversation about relationships and feelings and some stuff. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on the internet that's just be grinding my gears. And I'm like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? What's going on here? Because I just feel like for a certain level, a certain sense, that's what it was. That's what it is. Like, I see people on social media having these conversations about who initiates conversations and relationships, who should do this debating. And I sometimes see this stuff and I'm just like, well, why are we arguing about who does what first? You know what I'm saying? Why are we still having these type of arguments about who should express something? Why are we still doing that? You know what I mean? Like, if you're still like, why are we still, and also why are we still projecting stereotypes too? That's some stuff I don't like. I get annoyed too when I see people project stereotypes on it. Like, oh, I'm this my man, and I'm gonna be, we got to do this, and it's the talk about misogyny and this conversation about venting. Oh yeah, it was this whole conversation about venting and telling people, oh, don't vent. You need to be solution oriented. That came up in the conversation. Dr. Parks and I was looking at her argue. I don't know why she be caring about Twitter too much. I love my friend, but I'd be like, baby, as a person that's a part of the Twitter royalty, Black Twitter royalty, honey, girl, don't be arguing with these people that don't have real avatars. Don't be arguing with people that don't have real avatars. Don't be arguing with people that don't have real accounts. Like, we better than that, sis. Like, we gotta be above it, baby. We gotta be above it, honey. Like, these people ain't real. These are not real people. But sometimes I get in a situation where I see people get real caught up, and I'm like, there's a situation where they do. So there was a conversation about, there was like, in certain relationship dynamics, people get caught up in this whole performativeness of, Don't be venting to your lover or your partner. Be with solutions. Don't argue. That's passive aggressive. People are going to be in relationships where if you can't vent, or like I vent, y'all. I have friends. I better look. I just need to talk my shit and just get some shit off my chest. I'm not asking for a solution. I know what the answer is, but I just want to lay hands on that person real quick. I ain't gonna do it, but I just want you to know this person gets on my fucking nerves. They fake as shit. I don't like them. I'm not gonna talk to them, but I just want to let you know how I feel. If you cannot create a space where you can be able to share thoughts and opinions about stuff, to let out and not be the person to tell a friend, well, what about the solution? Solution. Sometimes you have to vent to get to the solution. Sometimes you have to express how you feel to figure out how to best be there. Sometimes as a partner or a lover in a relationship, a person just needs to let out some steam. And maybe the answer isn't you telling them what they should do next. Sometimes that's just where they want to be with it. I will tell you in my relationship, I will sometimes just be talking my shit. My friends know how I do. I'll be talking my shit. I just be like, look, I just want to say some things and I just want to just say it. And guess what? I already know what the answer is. I ain't going to talk to that person no anymore. I'm not going to work with this person no more. I just want to let it be known with my friends how I feel. And I'm going to move on. When I hear the song Hiss by Meg Thee Stallion, when she opens up the song Hiss to talk her shit, she already know how she let it be known what she feels. And she said, look, I want to say this and get this out the way. And then she going to go back to making money and making a number one smash hit. That's how I feel. That's how I do it. If you don't understand that, if you look at a person venting as an annoyance, if you look at a person that is expressing a little bit of their thoughts or frustrations, if you are fortunate enough and blessed enough to have a relationship with somebody that can tell you those type of thoughts and you treat it as a detriment rather than something to consider, wow, you like me so much that you feel very comfortable with sharing your most uncensored, unfeathered thoughts. If you get to a level with a person that's like that, that means they really trust you. And if you treat that trust as a deterrent or you dismiss it, then that's when a relationship breaks down. That's how I look at it. Like if I have friends who can't be honest to me about how they feel about something, or we can't be real about something, we can't vent about whatever it is, if we can't have that talk, then we're in a relationship that's not. I mean, look, it's something. It's an associate. That's the difference between a friend and an associate. Okay, an associate, you gonna keep it cute. A friend, a lover, you gonna keep it 1,000. And if you got friends that's just like, yeah, but what's the solution? Baby, you gotta go. Now, I will say this though. If you consistently vent about the same thing over and over and over again, and you do not have no thought about what you're gonna do next, yeah, we might have to talk about that. But sometimes it may be different. Sometimes you just want to pop your shit. Now back to you, listener, person who sent me DM. And anybody out here who's dealing with these gender dynamic issues, be upfront about what you want and what you expect. If the expectations and the wants are not in alignment, and you need to ask that person, what are their expectations and what are their wants? And if it does not align, or you all can't find a compromise, then you might need to reevaluate some things. In my relationship, that's all it's been. We have made compromises, and I don't even consider them compromises because I feel like if you love somebody and y'all make it do what it do, then it's not a burden. But we have made decisions where we initially did. I'll tell y'all a little something. You know, my career, initially, I had thoughts of leaving Philadelphia a long time ago. You will never know when, and I will never tell you when, and none of y'all can guess when, child. Don't worry about it. But there was a time where I was like, maybe I am getting bigger than Philly. And I need to, spread my wings and go somewhere. My husband, okay, he was not my husband then. So I might be telling y'all a little bit when this went down. It was before the pandemic. Okay, some of y'all might be like, I know when this probably happened because that makes sense. Okay, maybe y'all might be right. Maybe I met somebody in LA and I was getting a little hype. Okay, maybe y'all know. But there was a moment, and granted, it was before the pandemic. Life happens in mysterious ways. But there was a moment where I was thinking, there's some things I think I might want to go. And he was like, like I'm, building my career. I'm starting to really get into this job. He was making some really great connections. His career was really doing it. I was like, oh, like I want to be with this man. I don't do long distance. And I felt like, you know what? I am doing really good here in Philadelphia. Who am I to just go off to LA or go off somewhere elite, like, or force him to leave a career that he has? Like, his career is wonderful. Because of, I'll get to that in a minute, but it was like, who am I, right? And so we agree. I said, you know what? I'm good here. We're gonna work it out. It worked out. Ironically enough, right? We get engaged at the end of 2019. So this is 5 years ago. And next thing you know, the pandemic happens. And what's funny about that is that if we would have relocated, oh my God, how crazy that would have been. Like like, y'all don't even understand how much that would have been a mess. And then my career, because of the pandemic, it changed my career. My career got reshaped where now we work in mobile and remote. So writing gigs, opportunities, things that I wanted that I thought I had to leave to get, I didn't have to because everything was coming to me virtually. And so I was able to keep my relationships, maintain my relationships, make money, and not have to relocate. And the great interesting thing is that even for him, because he stayed in Philly, he got his dream job, which is he wanted to be a communications director, which he is. He got to be in a director role before he was 30. Like, it all worked out. But like, again, you got to be transparent. You got to have conversations. You got to think this stuff through. And you got to be clear about what your wants and expectations are as well. And if they evolve, but be keeping track. So now we're in a place where we're in full alignment. I am really much in love with Philly. I really love what I want to do. Hell, he loves it too. But hell, he might say, who knows? He might want to go to the White House. He might want to go to DC. DC, child, DC. But where would I be? Am I in a position where I can make that change? But we will just test it out and work it out, right, as we go. I mean, let me be clear. There's no interest in going to DC because I know the blogs want to start their rumors. We are not leaving Philadelphia as far as I'm concerned. I have put things in place to keep me here as much because I love this city. As many of you all call me, my good Judy Nina calls me all the time, the mayor of Philly. I'm the king of Philly. I love Philly. I'm the mayor of West Philly. I'm the governor of University City, and I'm the king of Philadelphia. I'm all of the things. But I love, I love this city. And, my brother is here still. So he graduates in 2025. Y'all want to be like, well, is he going to stay in Philly? I don't know. I would like him to, though, but we'll see. But like, there's a lot of good things happening right now. And, again, you won't know until you are transparent. One piece of advice I will give you all, another piece of a really good advice I would say is that I really think it's important that you all have those conversations. Also express the things that you're not going to do. Like, what are some non-negotiables? You know? But I think sometimes when people get in a relationship, they get really caught up in the love of it all, the romance, the sex, and everything. And you get in the mindset where, oh, I don't want to talk about that conversation. I want to have that sticky conversation because everything's good. Until you do something I don't like, then we'll have the conversation. Which sometimes that might happen, right? But nonetheless, it's time for us as a people and all of our relationships to just work on that transparency bit, because that's a very important part of making the difference between a relationship working out or not working out. So, food for thought. Getting into movies, Civil War just came out, you all. I've been talking about this movie. I gave y'all a heat preview. A lot of y'all done went to see it. Y'all done messaged me about it. It is an interesting film. There is a lot of talk. It's made a big box office debut with $25 million debut. It's from A24 Studios. It's getting Oscar bait. It's a big deal. It's one of the biggest rated R starts of the year. It kicked off with $25.7 million, which exceeded the projection that it was supposed to be 15 million, 20 million, but now it has surpassed that to now become the biggest debut for A24. Kirsten Dunst is in the film. It's doing really good. people are a little. It has divided this country, the film viewers, because people are like, how exactly does this blue state, red states drift play out? Because pretty much it plays out like a civil war. Um, but at the same time, it's people feel like it's hitting too close to home because this is election year. Talk about a timely film. But there's been a lot of timely films. I mean, people are talking about. Well, I just want to say this movie's really good. It's a lot of hysteria. People are a little scared, but you all should talk about it. It's an interesting film to watch. I highly recommend it. It might be a little scary, but I think people should watch it, and it's doing really good at the box office. Moving along, with these films, there's a lot of films that did made a CinemaCon, which I really would love to go to. It was in Vegas. People have been hyped about all these movies coming out. Y'all did not know that a Lion King prequel directed by Barry Jenkins, who is an Alpha, who also directed the iconic film Moonlight, that there is a Lion King prequel coming out called Mufasa, The Lion King. It is coming out at the end of the year. People are hype about it. There's gonna be new music. It's gonna have the live action feel that the Lion King film with Beyonce had. There's gonna be plenty of surprises. I've heard great things. Gladiator 2 is coming out this year. Paul Mescal is in it, Pedro Pascal, and Denzel Washington is in Gladiator 2. Are we not entertained? I know I am. Joker 2 trailer just came out. Lady Gaga, Joaquin Phoenix. It's given juicy. Now, I've heard that the movie shouldn't be called a musical. People say that it should be called a movie with some music in it, but it's not the musical that people initially thought it was going to play out to be, apparently. But I'm hearing good reviews, good excitement, and I am excited to see how this shapes out, just in general. But I'm really, 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 really excited about this. I really am. There's so much anticipation, and I'm feeling. I think Gaga is trying to get another Oscar nomination for her acting. She was close in House of Gucci, even though I felt like House of Gucci as a film wasn't that good. But people were ecstatic about some of the elements of it, nonetheless. Into music. There's so much going on in music. Taylor Swift is coming. I want to say that again. Taylor Swift is coming. And some of you are like, we don't care. We're still listening to Cowboy Carter. I know. But Taylor Swift is coming. Okay? The Tortured Poets Society is dropping Friday, April 19th at midnight. And I'll be up listening to it. Now, I'm a little disappointed that she's dropping her album. Billie Eilish just announced she's dropping an album in May, which I'm super excited about. Like, the girls are not playing. The girls are overfilling us right now. Like, I can't keep up with the women in music. They're just giving us so much. And I don't even know how to act. Like Dua Lipa, she's got her stuff coming. Her album is called Radical Optimism. It comes out May 3rd. Radical Optimism comes out May 3rd, which I believe is a week before Billie Eilish's album. Taylor Swift album comes out. Beyonce's album is still out here on the charts. Like, Ariana Grande's album was not too long ago. Like, all the pop girls are back. We're waiting for you, Rihanna. We need Rihanna to fill the gap. Rihanna needs to fill the gap. We need her to give us everything we want, because then she'll complete it. Like, I don't need a Gaga album at this point. I don't need a Gaga album at this point, to be honest. But she might give us that soundtrack. That Joker 2 soundtrack might have music by Gaga. But Taylor Swift's album's coming. I'm going to listen to it. I might get annoyed with her at times, but I can't wait to hear this music, for sure. But let's get to rap beefs very quickly. Rap beefs. Everybody hates Drake right now, which I'm super excited about. And I was just like, okay, it's not, it's almost like it's giving, affinity wars where everybody and their mother is taking a jab at Drake. And I kind of like this little gang up on Drake. Apparently there is this leaked demo or diss that Drake has done. I don't know if Drake wrote it. I question Drake's writing at this point. But now everybody from Rick Ross talking about French Montana got a cease and desist from Drake. Like ASAP Rocky is jumped in the fight, which he has every right to because Drake has been a dick to Rihanna. You have The Weeknd joining forces. Future then dropped an album with more disses. Like, there's a lot going on. I just want to know, what did Drake do? What did Drake do? What did Drake do? I just don't understand what Drake did. I just don't understand what has happened. We're witnessing the rise in modern rap beefs. Like, this is crazy. The girls are fighting, the guys are fighting, but I will contest that the women are having a better era in dissing than men. Like, I still love Put It on the Floor again, that remix with Cardi B and Nicki. Not Nicki, oh my God. Lotto and Cardi B. Freudian slip, but the diss was towards Nicki in that song. She said, Lotto said, she thought I was gonna kiss her ass. She must ain't take her meds. I said, oh my God. Oh my God. And then even Cardi B, this woman, when she is a feature on the song, she just, I forget. You know what? Cardi B's features are so good, you forget she has not dropped a new album in 5 years. I mean, this year the album's coming. Somewhere Mr. Hamilton is saying, we'll see. Or in his accent, boss, no, it's not. No, it's not. It ain't coming. It ain't coming. She ain't dropping that album. It ain't happening, Ernest. It ain't happening, Ernest. Cardi B is not dropping that album. She's not dropping it, man. He does not think the album's coming out. I believe that the Libra in her is going to do it. But she's a Libra. And Libras are going to do shit on their own time. When they feel ready. When they know it's the right time. They're not going to do it on anyone's time but their time. So Cardi B, being the Libra that she is doing this at her own pace. But that pace, baby, because I'm a Libra, honey. Chop, chop, it's time to roll. You need to drop this album now. You need to drop it this year. So I guess she's the other pop girl we're waiting for. Because Rihanna, we'll see. But if we get Cardi too, I mean, I guess another Meg album's coming. I'm assuming Meg's dropping a new album this summer to help with this tour. She's got to be. There's no other way. You ain't Missy Elliott. Like, Missy Elliott is on tour with Busta Rhymes and Sierra. Wells Fargo, in a box, baby. 1st of August, before I go to Martha's Vineyard. Baby, I'm already in there. I don't play with Missy. Okay? I'll play with some of these other girls, but I don't play with Missy. I'm trying to see if my mother wants to see Usher, and apparently there's an Usher tour. I forgot about it. She crazy. She's trying to see him. Child, it's a lot going on right now in these streets, but we got to figure this out. So, moving along, these rap beefs. Everybody want to talk about this whole J. Cole situation with Kendrick Lamar. Look, J. Cole chose peace. Because at this point, how many missiles? How much do we have to do with this war? At some point, people just got to be bigger people. J. Cole said, that, listen, he felt hurt hurting another man. It wasn't the transphobia that bothered him. It wasn't the transphobia. It was the fact that he not that he made Nas mad or he let Nas down. No, it was the fact that he did what he did. And so there you have it. Oh, goodness, a mess. But, I guess, blessings and light and love to that man, and we move on. So with TV, you got Good Times, which I told you was a disaster. People have been panning this show on Netflix. I knew it was going to be a shit show. People hate this show. People don't like it. It's supposed to be this animated version off of the famous 70s sitcom, which was controversial in its own right back then, but actually more pointed and had more emotional value than whatever the fuck this show was giving. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. Nobody asked for it. It's a mess. It's a hot mess. Abbott Elementary, great show as always. Summer Martha's Venue, great. Shout out to my frat, okay? Shout out to my good brother, Preston Mitchum, who went to Paris, went to this wonderful trip to Europe with his now fiance. He proposed to him over the weekend, and I'm so excited. Like, I love Black gay love. I especially love it when it's like real. They've been together for a minute, and that love was blowing, and now they're going to be married. So it's super exciting for that. And I hope, it's interesting because when watching, Martha's Vineyard Summer House, you've been wondering how Preston was doing, and now he's engaged. He's in love, so I'm really happy for him. But let me get on this one person. Let me get into this man, Jared Carmichael. Recently this Jared Carmichael show that's on Max that everybody's been talking about has been a spectacle since it arrived. But now it's entered new dimensions. A latest episode showed him sucking on his white man's feet, whatever, his white lover. It's his fetish. It's just giving a lot. But he also mentioned that he was, that they are into slave play, not race play, slave play. That there is this thing where he calls them massa and they play slave. And it's like, what? What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to make it very clear. Straight people, I really don't care what you think about Jared Carmichael, because part of the reason why he's a mess is because of y'all and y'all sick homophobia and problems. White supremacy clearly as well. What this whole fake mockumentary reality show, I don't know what it is. Jared Carmichael, bless this man's heart, and I mean that in the shadiest way. We know gay men like him, and I'm talking about Black queer people specifically. Listen, straights, you have a seat, sit down, listen, but really cut it out, because y'all got y'all people, right? Y'all got Candace Owens, y'all got Paris Denard, y'all got y'all people too. So y'all need to go ahead and be quiet on this and sit this one out, because I see a lot of y'all doing this dumb shit, and y'all support those rappers and football players. Be quiet on this topic. Here's the thing about this situation. Jared Carmichael is somebody who clearly has dealt with a lot of trauma in his life. He is understandably frustrated because he grew up in a society that really did not allow him to be as free as he wanted to be. The problem is that he's placing the wrong blame. He's placing the blame on Black community. He's placing the blame on his Black family. He wants to blame them for homophobia and all these things. And while they might have been all of those things, or their religious faith, he paints this narrative that put them in this position to act like they're oppressors. And in many ways, they did perpetuate harm. But it's obvious that their understanding is shaped by a larger conversation and critique on society, that white supremacy and the roles of that, and also the roles of masculine performance within communities of color, was being orchestrated by a white hierarchy and a white patriarchy, that model behavior came from those individuals who have now put it in our society, that Black cishet men are in a position that they feel like in order to assimilate into society, to a white society, right, that they had to model these forms, right, which is why you see Black cishet men oftentimes try to mimic their white male counterparts when it comes to what they think is style, what they think is power, what they think wealth looks like. Like, you will hear them adopt certain conservative viewpoints, inserted problematic tropes, even around how they think women should be, because that mentality shapes assimilation to society. Jared Carmichael was doing the same thing. He is entering this level where he wants to be, I don't want to say accepted by white gays, but he now wants to believe the same pathology that Black people are the problem, but has now did not realize that we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. That this society that he's trying to now compare to, it plays in the pathology of, oh, I want a white man because it's safer, it's better, it's cleaner, it's this, it's that. But it's bullshit. And the reality is he can't even see past that hurt and that trauma. So it's misplaced blame. It's a lot of internalized anti-Blackness. And it's trauma that's shaping all of these issues around his gender performance, his masculinity, the way he views his family. And it's really, really sad. And it's sad to watch. And we know people who've dealt with that. I know Black queer people who deal with that say, oh, I don't want to be around Black people, they too ghetto. Or, you know what, I don't get along with them. I have white friends and this, that, and the third. And they think, oh, being around white people is safer and a safe place. And, Black people don't like them. And I'm sick of it. Because it's not true. And we have to have these conversations and unpack some of this harm and this trauma. And I need our Black folks in our community, our cishet Black folks, to also confront those issues. We need to all have a family conversation about it. And white people, y'all need to mind y'all business and stop acting like y'all are doing Black queer people a service by being nice to us. Because if it hadn't been for folks in your community that create these problems, we wouldn't be in this harm. Like, I get, like, in other words, no one's doing charity work here. You can't be the problem and the solution. When I hear billionaires be talking about they're being philanthropic, are you, when you have taken so much fucking wealth and money? Like, get a fucking grip. I digress. But, Jared Carmichael needs help. But in wrapping up this show, I do want to take a moment to let you all know that the Ask Eater column is dropping this Wednesday. I'm not going to tell you what the questions are, but a lot of this deals with, food influencers. It deals with picky eaters, and it deals with people who do not like to go out places with cheap people. I'm answering 3 of your burning questions this week, and this premiere is going to be super exciting. And I also want to add that there's going to probably be other surprises this week as we get ready for election week from Ernestly speaking. So stay tuned, because it's going to get really, really spicy. And as always, be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.